Once again, happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day is an annual holiday in the United States. It's the second Sunday of May every year, and of course recognizes mothers and motherhood and the things just in general that mothers do. Their contributions to our families and to society. I'd looked up some famous mothers, some famous women, and most of them were full-time mothers and then did what they did to be famous in life, like Marie Curie, for instance. I think she had like 8 children that she took care of by herself. Mother's Day was established by Anna Jarvis in 1908, and the first actual celebration was at a Methodist church in Grafton, West Virginia on May 10th of 1908. The traditions include going to church with your mother. Carnations are the flower that's considered Mother's Day flower. And it's the 3rd largest holiday in the United States for sending cards. Unfortunately, a lot of time mothers have to cook for their family on Mother's Day. That's what they do. Yeah. I've got a list here of different countries and how they say the word mom. Maria and Bill are not here this morning. They had to go somewhere today. And we asked her, how do they say mom in Filipino, which is where she's from, and she speaks Filipino. And it's nene. And there are several countries that use mater or mater, M-A-T-R-E or M-A-D-R-E for the word mom, like the Italian and the Latin and Spanish all use the form of M-A-D or M-A-T-R-E. In Czech, it's matka. Dutch is moeder. Hungarian is Anya. Portuguese is simply mai, which is spelled M-A-E, by the way. Hawaiian is makuahin. I did pretty good with that, didn't I? Well, listen to this one. Japanese, okasan, is mom or mother. Vietnamese is simply mẹ. So there are a lot of different ways to say mother. But when we say mother, we're talking about someone that's very special to us. Most of us, all of us in here are. When we talk about and think about our mother. I know you all know about my mother. I talk about her. She was the greatest Southern Baptist that ever lived, as far as I was concerned. And something I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. She instilled in me when I was young the gospel and faith and the Bible. It took it a while to come out. But she gave it to me when I was young, and she knew that it would be there when I needed it. And it was. A lot of preachers will use Proverbs 31 to preach on Mother's Day. It's called the virtuous wife. Now it's called that. Back in the day, it was called the submissive woman. I ain't going to use that to preach about on Mother's Day. I might be opening that 3rd letter envelope that I told you all about a few weeks ago. You know, when you make the women at the church met at you, open the 3rd envelope. So I'm not going to be using Proverbs 31. There's another verse in the Bible that's a very good one that I could have used, which is Psalm 46:5. And it, among other things, simply says, God shall help her. That's another good one that could have been used. But I'm going to start in Genesis. We're going to go back to Genesis 1, verse 27. Chris is going to read that to us now.
So God created people in his own image. God patterned them after himself. Male and female, he created them.
God created male and female. Today we're going to talk about the latter. Next month maybe we'll talk about the man that he created. But today we're going to talk about the woman. God had been creating for some time now. This was at the end of his week of creation. Some people believe it was 7 days in a row that he did all the creating, and on the 7th he rested. Some people believe he created something one day, then he waited 30, 40 million years and he created something else, and then he waited 100 million years and he created, but they still think that it was 6 actual days that he did the creating. There are different views on that because a lot of people think the earth is 200 or 300 million years old. I'm one of those that believes that about 6,000 years ago, God created a 200 million year old earth. That's the way I look at it. And that he spent 1 week straight in doing the creation. And this was at the end of his creation, what Chris just read to us. And at the end of that creation week, he looked at what he had made, and what did he say? It's good. He said, what I have done is good. It's very good, as a matter of fact. He made man and woman, male and female, in his image. Think about that for a second. God created you. He continues to create man and woman in his image. Birth is a miracle of God. Still is, always has been. And when he looked at it, he realized what he had done was good. So today we're going to talk about the female that he created. This includes all of you ladies here today. You are women of God, made in his image. Now I've written a little tribute to you. When God created the heavens and the earth, he spoke them into being. When he created man, he took some dust, probably spit on it to get his DNA in it, and he formed man. But he didn't do that to create woman. Because, woman, you were too delicate to form that way. He allowed a deep sleep to come over the man that he had created. And Lord, I am so glad he did. Because I want you to imagine what Eve would have looked like if us guys would have been awake telling him how to do it. But he allowed Adam to go into a deep sleep so he could be perfect in what he was doing without the distraction of Adam saying, no, she needs to have longer hair. I like blue eyes instead of brown. I said, whatever, you know. From one bone, God fashioned woman. He chose the bone that protects man's life, the rib. The rib protects the heart, and the rib protects the lungs. The main 2 things that give man life. Just as you are meant to do, to protect the man's heart and his life. Around that one bone, he shaped you. He modeled you. He created you perfectly and beautifully. And your characteristics are as the rib. Strong, yet delicate, and can be fragile. You provide protection for the most important organ in the man's body, his heart. His heart is the center of his being. Therefore, you are to protect man's heart. The rib cage or the woman will allow itself to be broken before it will allow the man's heart to be broken. So you should protect man as the rib cage protects his heart. You were not taken from his feet to be under him. You were not taken from his head to be over him. You were taken from his side to be beside him and to be held close to his side. You are God's perfect angel. You are his beautiful lady. When I wrote that, I thought, like the Lady of the Mist at Tech, or the Statue of Liberty, both called beautiful ladies that were created. You have grown to be a splendid woman of excellence in God's eyes, and his eyes fill with tears when he sees the virtues in your heart. Your lips are lovely to him when they part in prayer. Your nose is perfect in form, and your hands are gentle to the touch. He caresses your face when you are asleep. He holds your heart close to his. He can feel your presence. Everything God wanted for Adam to share and experience, he fashioned in you. In woman, he gave holiness, strength, purity, love, and his protection and support to take care of man. You are special because you are an extension of God. Man represents God's image. Woman represents God's emotions. That's why women are so emotional, much more so than almost all men. But together, they represent the totality of God. So, men, treat your woman with love. Treat her well. Love her, respect her, watch over her, for she is fragile. And God's also watching over her and watching the way we treat her. Together, you can radiate glory, God's love, God's power, and life. God also gave woman the job of being a mother, a mom, a mama, a nene, a madre, a may, an okasan, whatever you want to call it. God gave woman the duty, the responsibility, and the opportunity to be a mother. And as mothers, women have an awesome opportunity plus an awesome duty to plant a seed and kindle a fire in their children that may not germinate for many years, but to instill in their children God and Jesus Christ, dead and resurrected and alive, and introduce them to the Bible. God not only gave you a great opportunity to be a mother, but he also gave you a great duty to teach your children about him and about his son, and to send that on from generation to generation. And we know that those seeds may not germinate until that child is 30, 40, 50 years old. But if you, while that child is young, instill certain things in their heart like my mother did you, one day it's going to come out. It may be at the last second, like the thief on the cross beside Jesus. But if you instill that in their hearts, mothers, one day it's going to come out. That fruit's going to blossom and bloom, and that child will be what you taught them to be. Mothers, God appreciates the work you do. The time, the effort, the tears, the prayers, the work that you do. Even if you only get to see a little bit of that fruit come to fruition, it's there. If you planted it, it's there. It's never too late to do that. When you do it, you're being obedient to the Lord. And by being obedient to the Lord will reward you for being a good mother. So mothers, do all these things, including parenting, for God's glory. And he will equip you with what you need to do that job. And if you're not a mother, find one that is and help her. Show her what we've talked about. Press her to be a godly mom for her children. It really makes a difference. Now, I am going to go back to Proverbs 31. There is a very good verse that's the end of the book of Proverbs, and near the end of chapter 31, there's a very good verse, verse 30. The second half of verse 30 in Proverbs 31 says, "But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised." And if a woman fears the Lord, she will teach her children about the Lord. That's a good mother. And I hope you have all done that. So may God bless all our mothers here today, as they are like him, made in his image. Amen.